Hi everyone and welcome. It is Karen here with you today. And today my project is a little bit different. I'm going to be making a bauble. So I have some beautiful Mintay papers here. It's called Time of Wonder. Yes, Time of Wonder. And I have a Stamperia bauble. Now my bauble I got at Bev's Cross Crafts. So what I've done is drawn around the smaller half of the bauble to cut out my paper, and I'm just going to measure it to make sure that it does actually fit, to make sure that if there's any bits I need to trim off, I should do that now, which I will do. Inside my bauble it actually has a little lip, so that's where I can rest my paper in the middle and not have it fall and go all wonky on the inside. So that's what I'm doing there. I'm just pushing it onto that lip to make sure that it fits properly. And it does! Yay! So I've also got these cute little Mintay die cuts, which is also from the coordinating pack. So I'm just going to find some little bits in my die cuts here that match up with the paper that I've cut out. So I've got a little bird, I've got the poinsettia, I've got the star, and I've got a couple of little baubles as well, and a little gingerbread house maybe. We'll see. So I'm actually going to layer these pieces up. So some are higher than the others, and it adds more dimension to the bauble. So first of all, I'm going to trim up my pieces because, sometimes mass-produced things don't always get cut out perfectly. So I'm just going to cut some of the little excess bits off and off the bird. So that's what I'm doing there. I'm thinking I might leave his legs. I'm not sure if I want his legs on there or not. But I do actually end up cutting them off in the end. But I've left them on there for the minute. So I'm just sizing it up, making sure that it does actually fit in there. So obviously my poinsettia die cut that I've got here is bigger than what the picture is of the bauble, so I will actually have to trim off the side of it so that it will fit in. But in the meantime, we'll just tidy it up. So that's just what I'm doing there. So yeah, that looks pretty good. That's going to fit in nicely there. Okay, but before I start sticking my pieces down, I'm going to put a little bit of vintage photo distress ink. So I've just got my little dauber on my finger. You can use a sponge, whatever you like to use. But I'm just going around the outside here just to take off the actual white edge of the paper. That's the idea. And to make it look a little bit more vintage than what it actually is. It just softens it off a little bit. So there you go. I'm chopping off the bits that I don't need now that I've got it on the right side. It took me a little bit to figure out which way it went. But I've done that and trimmed off the edges. So now I've just got some foam tape. And I'm going to put this poinsettia up on one layer of foam tape. So I think that'll look cool. So the other thing I'm going to do here is on these tiny little baubles, I'm going to tie some cute little string bows. So that's what I'm doing here. So I'm just tying it just freehand. It's not actually around anything in particular. And I'm just pulling the ends in and holding the bow in the middle to make the actual loops of the bow quite small. So I can actually end up making them the same size. So I've got a little bit of my art glitter glue here, which you all know is my favorite glue because it dries clear and not gunky or anything like that. So it's perfect. So I'm going to put that on there, stick on my poinsettia, make sure that I've got it lined up properly. There we go. That looks pretty cool. So I've also got some foam dots here. So I'm going to put a little bit of foam dot on the back of the bird. It's the bird. I think I put two layers, maybe 3 layers. I think it was 2 on the back of the bird, and just poking up the bit of the poinsettia that got a little bit squished. So that's better. So now I'm going back to my foam tape. My foam tape is actually a bit thicker than the foam dots, and as you can see there, I've just folded it over itself to double it up, and I've actually put 4, there's like 4 layers, but I've doubled up like I've just folded the foam tape back onto itself to make it thicker, and I've just put some dots on the back of the baubles, go around the little gingerbread house, which I did decide to use in the end, and I think I've just put one little layer of dots on the back of that. So it's looking pretty cool so far, pretty happy with it. So the next thing I'm going to do is I've got out my Wink of Stella pen. You could use any type of glittery pen. This is just the one that I happen to have. I don't even know if you can still get these anymore. But I do actually love it. I love the clear sparkles that this one does have. So I'm just drawing in the veins of the poinsettia, and just to add a little bit of sparkle onto it, onto the snow of the gingerbread house, on the baubles itself, and I'm going to draw some onto the bird's belly. So you can't quite see there because I'm a little bit far away, but I did zoom in as far as I possibly could. So I've done the little star there as well. So that looks pretty cool. So I'm going to put these other bits away so I don't get them all mucky, because the next thing I'm actually going to do is grab out my Posca pen. I think it's my Posca pen. And I'm actually going to add on some white dots. But before I add on my white dots, I've decided to stick on a little bit of a sentiment. So I've got some chipboard here, just some Christmassy words. That first one I popped out was family, but I decided I didn't want to use that one in the end. And where it's been attached into the stack of chipboard, I've just sanded off the little rough edges. So this one just says Merry Christmas. So I'm going to pop that in there, trying to make it nice and straight. So at the bottom of my page there, I've got like a little shelf, so that can help me to line it up to make sure that my words and everything are straight. I'm going to trim off the edge of that bauble because that's going to squish out the side. So now I'm going to do some white dots. So I'm going to get out my Posca pens, not the Life of Colour one. This one's a bit fatter. So I'm going to splat on some bits on here, and I've got a little bit too much in the middle of my poinsettia there. So I'm just going to wipe that off with my baby wipe. There we go. So that's looking pretty cool. And some of the spots didn't quite come out as white as I wanted them to. So that's what I'm doing with my paint pen there. It's just adding in a couple of extra ones. So I'm pretty happy with that. That looks really cool. That's going to look really pretty. Okay, so now that that's dry, what I've done is add a bit of washi tape onto the bottom of that picture so that I know where the bottom of it is, so it will be nice and straight for when I do the other side, because it'll be no good if one side's upright and the other side's skew with. So now I'm just doing the same thing as what I did before. I've just got the half of the bauble and I've just traced around it. I've decided to use this part of the paper. It's the same piece of paper, and I was going to use the Merry Christmas, but that didn't quite work. So I've got the poinsettia here, but again I'm just going to trim up the edges on, because you know, sometimes they don't quite get cut exactly where they're supposed to. So I'm just going to tidy that up a little bit. I've got my little nutcracker man. I've got a Christmas tree. And what else am I going to use? A couple of presents, I think. I think that'll look cute. Yep. And was there anything else? I don't think there was anything else I was going to use. So again, I'm just cutting off the edges there just to tidy them up a little bit and make sure that they're nice and pretty. So again, I'm going to do the same as what I did on the front, is to go around it with my vintage photo distress ink. I had to remember what it was called. Oh dear. And of course, where the tape is there, you can see on the other half, I know exactly where this bit is going to be nice and straight to line it up. So then when you flip your bauble around from one side to the other, you know, it looks good. Okay, so I've got my tree there. I've just put some foam tape on the back of it and cut the very top off because, you know, that isn't going to work. I've folded over my piece of foam tape there to put on the present. So now it's double-sided, but I kind of missed it a little bit, so I'm going to have to plop it over a little bit more to make it fit in a little bit better. And yep, there we go. That looks a bit better. So I've got 2 bits of foam tape under the bottom half and 1 bit under the top bit of that bigger present. And I've also put some foam tape on the back of the other present there. So with the poinsettia and the Tin Man, I've just got to decide which one's going to go the Tin Man. It's not the Tin Man, it's the Nutcracker Man. So I've got some foam tape. I'm going to fold that over so he's actually double layered. So he will stand up from the crowd a little bit. And with the poinsettia, I'm actually going to have to put, I put 3 lots on it. So I folded 1 bit over and then stuck another piece over the top. So that's looking pretty good as we're all pretty happy with that. So I've got my chipboard words here again. And this time I've decided to use Christmas Eve, I think this one says. I decided that the Christmas Eve words worked out with the Nutcracker. You know, all I needed was a little mouse, really. Yeah, so again with my Wink of Stella pen, I'm just going to add some sparkles onto my presents, onto the bows there, onto the poinsettias which are on the trees. This time I would think I'm going to colour in the whole poinsettia. Not sure, I can't remember. And a little bit of the white details on the Nutcracker. So he's looking pretty cool. So we trim off the excess bits that are hanging over the edge. Now this is where my tape has been very handy. So I just got my glue on the back of the other piece. Okay, so now I can line this one up nice and straight using my washi tape there as a guide, because that's the straight side of the other side. You get what I mean, don't you? I hope you do. Anyway, so I'm just squishing all my edges together, trimming up the other side of the bauble to match the first side, because I didn't really do that with the second side, because I knew that the first side was exactly the right size. So with my bauble, I've just gave it a quick wipe, and I have some jewels here, some beautiful little shaker tool jewels from Paper Rose. So I'm going to sprinkle half of the packet into one half of the bauble, put my paper in, and again I'm just squishing the paper down onto that lip so it holds it nice and straight, and so that it's also nice and secure in there as well. So I'm just checking to make sure that it fits, and it does. So now I'm going to run my art glitter glue around the inside of the bauble so I can stick it together. I've got a baby wipe here just to wipe off the excess glue that might have oozed out of the sides, and of course that glue is going to dry clear, so you're not going to notice any gluey marks on my bauble. So now I'm going to colour my ribbon. So I've got a bit of nylon-y sparkly white ribbon here and some distress ink, so I'm just going to plonk that in, as you can see. And at the first time it was looking a little bit red and not quite pink enough, so I've decided to come back in with some more of the worn lipstick. I'm going to get my ribbon nice and dry before I tie it into a bow. And again, I'm just making my loops a bit smaller just by holding it in the middle. And now I can tie the next part, again trying to make sure that it's nice and small, and then I'm going to make sure that my bows are the same size before I glue them either side of this little bit that pokes up that's got the hole in it for the hanger. So I'm just going to put one there and one there, and I'm also going to put a dog clip on it to hold it in place while it dries. So the only other thing left to do is to attach some silver string, so that's what I'm going to do there, but of course I have to wait for the ribbon to dry before I can do that. But this is it. This is what it looks like when it's finished and hanging up on the tree. It's so pretty. I really hope you like it. I hope I have inspired you to make some baubles today or sometime before Christmas to hang up on your tree. They also make a great gift as well. They're lots of fun to make. Okay, till next time, I will see you later. Bye.